The emergency broadcast reached every corner of the galaxy at the same time. It was not the usual request for trade or diplomatic talks. This was a cry for help, raw and desperate. Counselor stood before the Galactic Assembly with his thin, pale hands shaking. His people, had lived in peace for thousands of years. They were scholars, artists, and philosophers. War was something they only read about in ancient texts. But now, something terrible had come to their worlds. "The scourge," said, his voice breaking. "It consumes everything. Our outer colonies are gone. 4 Bellum Minor, the settlements on, all infected. We have tried to fight, but we are not warriors. We are dying." The assembled species listened in silence. The Empire representatives, tall and armored, exchanged glances. The collective, beings of pure energy contained in crystalline suits, flickered nervously. Everyone knew about the scourge. It was a parasitic organism that grew in the harshest environments. Places with high gravity, radiation storms, and toxic atmospheres were where it thrived. "We have analyzed the infected zones," said Marshal of the environmental conditions are unsurvivable. Our soldiers would last perhaps 6 hours in full combat armor. The radiation alone would kill within a day. The representative spoke next, their voice a harmonious chime. "Our technology cannot penetrate the interference. The gravity would crush our vessels. We cannot help you there." One by one, the great powers of the galaxy offered sympathy but no aid. They were alone. Returned to his ship with a heavy heart. His assistant, a younger named Ara, brought him the day's responses to their distress call. Most were polite refusals. Some offered to take refugees. None offered to fight. Then Ara handed him one final message. "This one is different," she said quietly. "It is from Earth." Had heard of Earth, a small planet recently discovered by a merchant ship. The humans there had barely achieved faster-than-light travel. They were primitives, really. Warriors, yes, but with crude technology and simple understanding of the galaxy. He opened the message anyway. "To the Confederacy," the message began. "We have received your distress call. We are prepared to render assistance. The UEDS Endurance will arrive in your space within 72 hours. Commander, United Earth Defense Service." Read it 3 times. Assistance. From the humans. He pulled up their biological data from the Galactic Registry. What he saw made him feel sick. Humans came from a world with 1G gravity, which was considered extremely high. Their planet had active radiation from an unstable star. Their atmosphere was 21% oxygen, which was near toxic levels. Their world had extreme temperature variations, active geology, and hostile wildlife. The registry had a warning label: high risk, contact with caution. "They want to help?" Ara asked, reading over his shoulder. "They do not understand," said sadly. "The infected zones are worse than there. They will die like everyone else." But he had no other choice. He sent back coordinates. 3 days later, the Endurance arrived. It was a blocky, functional ship with none of the elegant curves of vessels or the imposing weapons of warships. It looked like a tool, built for work rather than beauty. Met the human commander via hologram. Was a woman, shorter than most species, with dark hair tied back and sharp eyes. She wore a simple uniform without ceremony. "Counselor," she said with a slight bow, "we came as quickly as we could. What is the current situation?" Explained the scourge, the infected colonies, and the impossible environmental conditions. He showed her the data: 2.1 G gravity, temperature swings of 60 degrees, acidic rain, and radiation levels that would kill in hours even in a shelter. Listened carefully. When he finished, she turned to her crew. "Can we operate in those conditions?" A woman with glasses and a medical uniform checked her tablet. "Gravity is heavy but manageable with conditioning. Radiation is well below lethal dose with standard shielding. Temperature and atmospheric issues require basic environmental suits. I see no major obstacles, Commander." Felt his heart skip. You can survive there." Survive looked confused. "Yes, counselor, it will not be comfortable, but our teams train for worse." Another human spoke up, a man named Jin. "Commander, this reminds me of the Ganymede operation. Similar conditions, actually lighter gravity." "Agreed," said. She turned back to, "Counselor, we will need detailed maps of the infected zones and any intelligence on the scourge behavior. We can begin surface operations within 24 hours." Could not speak. These humans were discussing entering hell itself like it was a normal mission. "Commander," he finally managed, "your people, Earth is classified as a 'are you certain?'" Smiled, and it was not a cruel smile but a kind one. "Counselor, every world is it to someone. To us, 4 is just another job. We do not abandon people who ask for help." She saluted, and the hologram ended. Aura looked at with wide eyes. "They are actually going down there." "Yes," whispered, "they are going down there." For the first time in months, he felt something he thought was lost. He felt hope. In the endurance briefing room gathered her team. Engineers, soldiers, scientists, and medics filled the seats. She brought up the images of 4. "Listen up," she said. "We have civilians trapped on a hostile world. The locals cannot reach them. Every other species said it is impossible, so naturally they called us." The crew laughed. "I need environmental suits ready. Menu, plot atmospheric entry vectors. Prepare field medical for physiology. Jin, threat assessment on this scourge organism. Everyone else, standard hostile environment protocols. We go in fast, we find survivors, and we show this galaxy what humans do best." "What is that, Commander?" asked Sora from communications. Grinned, "We do not quit. Ever. Get to work, people, we have lives to save." The crew dispersed, already moving with purpose. Outside the window, the dying colonies of the waited, and for the first time, help was actually coming. Help from Earth, help from The Endurance entered orbit around 4 just before dawn on the colony's main continent. From space, the planet looked angry. Brown clouds swirled in massive storms. The surface glowed in patches where volcanic activity pushed through the crust. Lightning flickered constantly across the atmosphere. Watched from his command ship, the peaceful Dawn, which stayed at a safe distance. His screens showed the environmental readings, and each number made him feel worse. The radiation count was climbing. The gravity well was pulling hard on both ships. This place was death. "Endurance, this is peaceful Dawn," he transmitted. "We are reading critical environmental hazards. Are you certain you wish to proceed?" His voice came back calm and steady. "Confirmed, peaceful Dawn. We are beginning surface operations now. Stand by." On the Endurance, the cargo bay was organized chaos. Soldiers checked weapons. Scientists packed instruments. Engineers tested equipment. Everyone moved with practiced efficiency. Stood at a medical station, studying biology on her screens. Their bodies were delicate, adapted for low gravity and gentle environments. A fall that would bruise a human could break us bones. The radiation levels on 4 would destroy their cellular structure in days. "How are they still alive down there?" asked the marine biologist who had joined the mission. "Radiation shelters," said, "built deep underground, but their supplies are running out. We have maybe 48 hours before they start dying." Menu, the pilot, approached. He was young but had flown through Venus's atmosphere for training. "Commander wants us ready in 10. Atmospheric entry will be rough. The winds are clocking at 200 kilometers per hour." "Just like home," said with a grin. The dropship was a blunt, ugly thing built for punishment. 20 humans climbed aboard, wearing environmental suits that looked almost casual compared to the massive armored shells other species required. The suits provided radiation shielding, temperature regulation, and oxygen. That was all they needed. Jin checked his weapon, a simple projectile rifle modified for high gravity. "Remember, the scourge is organic but resilient. Aim for the nerve clusters identified. Stay in pairs. Do not engage large groups alone. The ship shook as it detached from the Endurance. Minu's voice came over the speakers. Entry in 30 seconds. It is going to get bumpy. Bumpy was an understatement. The ship hit the atmosphere like a meteor. It bucked and twisted as Minu fought the controls. Outside the windows, the hull glowed red-hot. Most species would have been unconscious from the G-forces. The humans gritted their teeth and held on. Almost through, Minu grunted, leveling out in 3, 2, 1. The shaking stopped. They were through. Below them, the surface of 4 spread out in browns and grays. The sensors showed the shelter 3 kilometers north. They also showed something else. Contact, Jin said sharply. Movement near the shelter, multiple signatures, Scourge. Leaned forward, how many? At least 30 organisms. Medium size, they are circling the shelter entrance. Then we go in fast. Minu put us down right on top of them. The ship dropped like a stone. The Scourge scattered as tons of metal slammed into the ground. The cargo ramp dropped before the engines finished cycling down. The humans moved out. Watched his screens in horror. The humans had just jumped into an environment that should kill them. The external temperature was 53 degrees Celsius. The radiation counter was screaming. The gravity was crushing. But the humans were running. Jin's squad hit the ground and immediately engaged the Scourge. The creatures were nightmare things, all writhing tentacles and armored shells. They moved fast despite their size, each one massing at least 200 kilograms. The humans were faster. Gunfire cracked across the barren landscape. The Scourge shrieked, sounds like metal tearing. 3 of them fell in the first seconds. The rest turned to attack. 2 o'clock, Jin shouted. A Scourge leaped at him, tentacles spreading. He rolled under it, came up firing. The creature crashed behind him, twitching. Sora and worked together, flanking a larger organism. Their bullets punched through its armor, dropping it. Another came from their left. Turned and fired without even looking, her shots guided by sound and training. In 5 minutes it was over. 30 Scourge lay dead or dying. The humans stood among them, breathing hard but unharmed. Clear, Jin reported, moving to the shelter. The shelter was a bunker dug into the rock. The door was sealed tight. The engineer examined it. Locked from inside. They must have heard the fighting. Activated her external speakers. Survivors, this is Commander of Earth. We received your distress call. We are here to help. Please open the door. Silence, then a weak voice came through. Earth, the... Yes, we are here to get you out. The Scourge, there are too many. Not anymore. We cleared the area. You are safe. Open the door. Slowly, the massive door cycled open. Inside, 12 huddled together. They looked terrible, thin, and weak from rationing supplies. When they saw the humans, their eyes went wide. The humans were just standing there, outside, in the hell environment like it was nothing. Stepped forward, removing her helmet to show her face. The heat hit her immediately and the air tasted of sulfur, but she smiled at the, "Hello, we are going to take you home." One of an older male stepped forward shakily. You are not wearing armor. How are you alive?" Looked down at her environmental suit. "This is armor, light armor, but it works." "Light," this voice cracked. "We would die in seconds out there." "I know," said gently. "That is why we came. Our ship is close. Can you walk?" They could barely stand. The humans helped them, each soldier supporting a. The walk back to the ship took 15 minutes. It must have felt like crossing an ocean of fire. On the peaceful dawn, watched the rescue. He watched humans walk through conditions that required the galaxy's best technology to even approach. He watched them fight creatures that had destroyed defenses with ease. He watched them carry survivors like it was the easiest thing in the world. "Sir," Aura whispered beside him, "they are not even using heavy equipment." "No," said, "they are not." The dropship lifted off, carrying the survivors, but Jin and 5 others stayed behind. Endurance, this is Jin. We are setting up a forward base. We need to study these scourge before we can clear the planet. Back on the ship, approved. Confirmed, you have 48 hours, make it count. Brought the survivors to the medical bay. They were dehydrated, radiation sick, and terrified, but alive. The oldest one, whose name was, grabbed her hand weakly. "Why?" he asked. "Why would you risk this for us? We are strangers. Your people barely know the galaxy exists." Prepared an IV line with careful hands. "Because you needed help, that is enough." Began to cry. Did not cry like humans, but the emotion was the same. Relief, gratitude, and disbelief all mixed together. On the surface, Jin's team set up equipment as the twin suns set, turning the sky blood red. Around them in the darkness, the scourge stirred. Thousands of them, maybe millions, spreading across the planet. Jin checked his rifle and smiled. "Okay, you ugly things, let us see what you are made of." The galaxy had asked for help, and Earth had answered. Now the real work would begin. The forward base grew quickly. Within 24 hours, Jin's team had established a perimeter, power generators, and a research station. They worked through the night, which on 4 brought temperatures down to near freezing. The humans simply added heating elements to their suits and kept working. Spent most of her time studying the scourge specimens they had captured. She had set up a containment lab in a reinforced tent. The creature inside moved constantly, testing every surface for weakness. "Fascinating," she muttered, making notes. "Its behavior pattern matches Earth's deep-sea predators. Ambush tactics, minimal energy expenditure, extremely efficient metabolism." The field researcher looked up from his own work. "You think it evolved in deep oceans?" "Maybe, or deep underground, somewhere with extreme pressure and limited resources." Leaned closer to the containment field. "It has been trying to escape for 6 hours. No rest, no pause, but watch this." She turned off the field for exactly 3 seconds, then reactivated it. The scourge lunged, hit the barrier, and retreated. Then it went still. "It is resting now," said. "It uses energy in bursts, then recovers, just like a hunting spider or a moray eel." "So it can be exhausted," said slowly. "Exactly," smiled. "It evolved to fight prey that either dies quickly or runs away. It never evolved to fight something that keeps coming back." Jin was listening from across the tent. "Are you saying we can outlast them?" "I am saying humans are persistence predators. We do not give up. The scourge does not know what to do with that." Jin grinned. "Then let us teach them." Back on the Endurance, was dealing with a different kind of problem. Word of the rescue had spread through the galaxy faster than expected. Her communications board was flooded with messages. Sora brought her the latest. "Commander, we have received requests from the Empire, the Collective, and something called the Observer Corps. They all want to know how we are operating on 4. Tell them we are using standard protocols." "I did, they do not believe us." Sighed, "What do they want?" "The observers want to send a representative, someone named. They document major events for the Galactic Archives." "Fine, 1 observer, but they stay on the ship unless they can survive surface conditions." Arrived 12 hours later. They were from a species called the tall and thin with 4 arms and large, dark eyes. They wore a shimmering suit that probably cost more than the Endurance. "Commander," said formally, "I am honored to observe your mission. The galaxy has never seen anything like this." "Like what?" "A rescue mission." "A rescue mission in an extinction-level environment, conducted by a species barely 1 cycle into galactic society," gestured around the ship. "Your vessel is primitive by galactic standards. Your technology is functional but unrefined. Yet you succeed where others fail. I must understand why." Led to the observation deck. Below, 4 rotated slowly. "The answer is simple. We evolved in a hard place. Earth is what you call a high-gravity, unstable climate, aggressive life forms. We learn to adapt or die, so we got very good at adapting. But the other species do not help others. They isolate themselves or conquer. Maybe they forgot where they came from, said quietly. We remember. We remember what it is like to be the ones who need help. On the surface, Jin's team was testing theory. They had tracked a large scourge cluster to a canyon system 10 kilometers from base. Traditional tactics would be to hit hard and fast, then retreat. Jin had a different idea. We are going to chase them, he told his team. Not for an hour, not for a day, for as long as it takes. The tactical coordinator understood immediately. Persistence hunting, like our ancestors did on the African plains. Exactly. Humans can run for days if we pace ourselves. The scourge cannot. They started at dawn. The scourge cluster was roughly 200 organisms, moving through the canyon as a group. When the humans appeared, the creatures attacked immediately. The humans did not fight, they ran. The scourge chased them, tentacles lashing out, but the humans stayed just out of reach, firing occasional shots to keep the creatures following. 1 kilometer, 2, 5. After 10 kilometers, the first scourge began to slow. After 15, some stopped completely. The humans kept running. Jin's breathing was heavy but controlled. His legs burned from the high gravity, but he had run marathons in worse conditions during training. Beside him, kept pace easily. Behind them, the scourge were strung out along the canyon, exhausted. Now, Jin said. The team turned and attacked. The scourge tried to fight, but they were spent. Their movements were slow, uncoordinated. In 20 minutes, the entire cluster was eliminated. Base, this is Jin. Target neutralized. 0 casualties. On the Endurance, watched the combat footage with all 4 eyes wide. Impossible. They ran for 20 kilometers in 2.1 g gravity, while being chased by hostile organisms. This is not possible. It is very possible, said. She was reviewing the team's medical data. Heart rates elevated but stable. No one exceeded safe limits. This is what humans are built for, observer. We can run forever if we need to. But why? Asked. What evolutionary pressure creates this? Pulled up images of Earth. Our had predators faster than us, stronger than us, better armed than us. We could not outrun them in a sprint, so we learned to outlast them. We would chase prey for days until it collapsed from exhaustion. Our ancestors ran down animals 10 times their size. This is in our blood. Was silent for a long moment. I must revise my reports. The Galactic Archives have underestimated your species. Over the next week, the humans cleared 3 more scourge clusters using the same tactics. Chase, exhaust, eliminate. It was not glorious. It was hard, grinding work, but it worked. Meanwhile, had been studying 4's environment. She found that the volcanic regions produced certain minerals the scourge avoided. Using local materials, she built simple barriers that the creatures would not cross. Commander, I can create safe zones around the remaining shelters. It will not eliminate the scourge, but it will protect the survivors until we clear each area. Approved immediately. Do it. Show the locals how to maintain the barriers too. We will not be here forever. Young Ara, the who had been helping counselor, asked to visit the surface. Refused, but she persisted. Finally, agreed to bring her down under strict conditions. Ara wore a human-made environmental suit modified for physiology. It was 3 times heavier than what humans used. Even stepping off the transport ship was exhausting for her. But she walked the perimeter of the base with. She saw the barriers built. She watched Jin's team training. She observed working in the lab. This is hell, she said quietly. To us, this place is death itself. I know, replied. But to you it is just Tuesday. Smiled, we have faced worse. The important thing is not how hard it is. The important thing is that we do not stop. Aura looked at the human commander with new eyes. The galaxy thinks you are primitive. They think you are barely civilized. They are wrong, are they not? Advanced is not about technology, Aura. It is about what you do when someone asks for help. That night, Aura sent a message to every in the Confederacy. She described what she had seen. The humans working in impossible conditions, fighting creatures that terrified the galaxy's warriors, building hope where there was only despair. The message spread beyond it reached the Empire, the collective, species across dozens of systems. Humanity had arrived on the galactic stage not with threats or demands, but with help, and the galaxy was beginning to understand what that meant. On 4, Jin stood on a ridge and looked out at the infected territories. So much more to clear, so much more work to do. But humans did not quit. They never had, they never would. "All right, people," he said into his comm. "Next target is 20 clicks north. Let us move out." Behind him, his team gathered their gear without complaint. They had a job to do. They would do it. That was the human way. The way. The message arrived while was sleeping. 3 worlds all infected by the scourge requesting help, not requesting galactic aid, requesting Earth's aid, specifically. She read the requests in her quarters, drinking terrible coffee from a metal cup. The worlds were Bellum Minor and a mining colony called 7. All had similar environmental conditions to 4. All were places the rest of the galaxy could not reach. "Commander," Sora's voice came through the intercom. "Counselor is requesting a meeting. He says it is urgent." "Send him through." His hologram appeared and he looked different, less defeated, almost hopeful. "Commander, I have news. The Galactic Council wants to meet with Earth's representatives. They are impressed with your progress." "Impressed enough to help." His face fell slightly. "They cannot survive the conditions, but they are offering resources, supplies, whatever you need." "What we need is more personnel," said. "We are clearing 4, but 3 more worlds need help. I have 1 ship and 80 people." "I have been authorized to tell you that Earth's request for protectorate status is being fast-tracked. If your government accepts, you will have access to galactic resources and infrastructure." Stood up, "I need to contact home. This is beyond my authority." 48 hours later, the UEDS determination arrived with Commander. She was older than, with gray in her hair and scars on her hands from a dozen campaigns. Her ship brought 200 fresh personnel, supplies, and equipment. She also brought orders. "Earth has accepted protectorate status," said in the meeting. "With conditions. We help those who need it, not those who can pay for it. We do not conquer, we do not colonize, we save lives." Nodded the mission. "Expand operations. Your team stays on 4. I will take Bellum Minor. Additional ships are being dispatched to and 7. The galaxy asked for help. We are going to flood them with it." As ship departed, Jin brought troubling news. "We found the source, the main hive. It is on 4's moon." The tactical display showed a massive structure, organic and pulsing. It was buried deep in the moon's surface, protected by radiation and gravity even more intense than the planet below. "How big?" asked. "Best estimate, 5 kilometers across, maybe 1,000,000 individual organisms. This is where the scourge is breeding, then dropping pods to the surface." "Can we destroy it?" "Not with what we have. We would need to get inside, place charges at the core, and get out. The radiation alone," Jin shook his head. "The other species are right. This is suicide." The psychological warfare specialist who had arrived with supplies leaned forward. "The scourge operates as a collective, correct? Hive mind behavior." "Partially confirmed. There is a central intelligence coordinating them. We have been tracking the signals. They come from the moon." "Then we need to confuse it, overload it, make it think there are threats everywhere." Pulled up her own files. "I have been studying their communication patterns. They use bioelectrical pulses, similar to Earth cephalopods. If we can create interference, we can blind them temporarily. Added her own research. I have something else. I have been working with Earth bacteria, trying to find something that affects the scourge but not biology. She brought up a microscope image. This is a modified version of Bacillus, common Earth bacteria. To the scourge, it is deadly. It breaks down their cellular structure. To and most galactic species, it is harmless. A bioweapon said. A very specific one. If we can deploy it at the hive core, it will spread through the entire collective within days. No more scourge. Jin whistled softly. One problem, someone has to plant it inside the hive, in conditions that make 4 look pleasant. I know, said quietly. The plan came together over 3 days. A strike team would land on the moon, fight through the outer defenses, penetrate the hive, deploy the bioweapon, and extract. 12 people, maybe a 30% survival chance. Every human on the Endurance volunteered. Selected her team carefully, Jin for his combat experience, because she knew the bioweapon best, Minyu to pilot them through the impossible approach, to handle the interference devices, and 6 others. When Ara heard about the mission, she demanded to come. No, said firmly. Ara, you cannot survive those conditions. Make me a suit. You modified one for the surface visit, do it again. The moon is 10 times worse than 4. The radiation will kill you even with shielding. Ara's eyes were hard. My people are dying, Commander. I will not sit safely on a ship while humans risk everything for us. If you go, I go. Worked for 18 hours straight modifying a suit for Ara. It was massive, almost a small mech, with triple-layer radiation shielding and life support that could last 4 hours. It would protect her. Barely. The galaxy watched. Observer had transmitted everything to the galactic archives. Now, species across known space tuned in to watch humans attempt the impossible. The Empire sent a message. Marshall's words were carefully chosen. Earth vessels, this mission is madness. The hive is impenetrable. We calculate 0 chance of success. Responded simply. Then you are calculating wrong. We are going. Stand by for results. The assault ship was modified for the moon's gravity and radiation. As the team prepared, sent a final transmission. Commander, my people owe you everything already. You do not need to do this. We can evacuate, abandon these worlds. No, said, you do not abandon your homes. We will handle this. The team gathered in the cargo bay. Ara stood among them in her massive suit, half a head taller than the humans now. She looked terrified but determined. Jin checked his weapon for the 10th time. All right, listen up. We go in fast, we hit the core, we get out. Stay together, watch each other's backs. The scourge will throw everything at us. But remember what taught us. They can sprint, but we can run forever. Held up the bioweapon container. This is the end of the scourge. We just have to deliver it. Activated her interference devices. I will blind them as much as I can, but expect heavy resistance. Minyu started the engines. Entry vector calculated. It is going to be rough. Looked at her team. These humans had volunteered for certain death. Ara had demanded to face it with them. They were about to attack a target the galaxy's finest military minds called impossible. We are, said quietly. We do not know how to quit. Let us show them why Earth answered the call. Move out. The ship launched. Behind them, the Endurance and Peaceful Dawn watched. Further out, ships from a dozen species monitored the signals. The galaxy held its breath. On the moon's surface, the hive stirred. It sensed the approaching threat. 1,000,000 organisms began to move as one. The battle for 4's moon was about to begin, and 12 humans, plus one very brave, were flying straight into Hell's heart. Jin chambered around and smiled. Just another Tuesday. The team laughed, nervous but ready. They were scared. They were facing impossible odds, but they were human. And humans did not quit. The ship hit the moon's atmosphere like a bullet. There was no gentle entry, no careful approach. Minu pushed the engines to maximum, diving straight down through radiation storms that would have destroyed most vessels. Inside, the team was thrown against their restraints. The hull shrieked. Warning alarms screamed. Through the windows, the surface rushed up at terrible speed. "Brace," Minu shouted. "Impact in 5, 4. The ship slammed into the moon's surface and skidded for 200 meters before stopping. Minu killed the engines. For a moment, there was only silence and the sound of stressed metal cooling. "Everyone alive?" asked. "Alive," Jin confirmed. "Aura." This voice came through shaky but determined. "I am here, still breathing." "Good, because here they come." The scourge poured out of cracks in the ground like water from a broken dam. Hundreds of them, maybe thousands. They moved faster here in the higher gravity, adapted to the moon's conditions. The cargo ramp dropped. The team moved out into hell. The gravity was crushing. 3.2 g, more than 3 times Earth standard. Every step was an effort. Every breath was work. The radiation counters were already screaming. Aura took one step and nearly fell. The suit compensated, but she could feel the weight trying to push her into the ground. "Stay close to me," Jin said, firing at the first wave of scourge. "Use the suit's strength, do not fight it." The creatures hit them like a wave, but activated her interference devices, and suddenly the scourge coordination broke. They attacked individually now, confused and disorganized. "It is working," shouted, "but I cannot maintain it long, the hive is adapting." "Then we move fast," ordered. "Where is the entrance?" Checked her scanner. The bioweapon container was strapped to her back. 300 meters north, large opening, probably a main tunnel. They fought forward step by step. The team formed a circle around and Aura protecting them. Gunfire echoed across the dead moon. Scourge fell in heaps, but more kept coming. Went down when a tentacle caught his leg, grabbed him, hauling him up. "Keep moving." 200 meters. 100. The entrance loomed ahead, a massive hole in the ground pulsing with organic light. They plunged into the darkness. Inside the hive, the air was thick with spores and heat. The walls were alive, breathing. The floor was soft and wet. It was a nightmare made real. "Breathing filters on," ordered. "The spores are toxic." They moved through tunnels that twisted and branched. Interference was working less here. The scourge were coordinating again, attacking from all sides. Jin's rifle ran dry. He switched to his sidearm without missing a beat. Beside him, one of the team members, a soldier named, took a hit. A tentacle punctured his suit. He went down hard. "Keep going," he shouted. "I will hold here." "Negative," Jin said, dragging him forward. "No one gets left behind." Aura surprised everyone by lifting with her suit's mechanical arms. The extra strength of the modified armor let her carry him. "I have him. Go." Deeper, hotter. The radiation was climbing to lethal levels even for humans. Counter was in the red. They had minutes, maybe less. There, pointed ahead, the tunnel opened into a massive chamber, and in the center was the hive core. It was beautiful in a terrible way, a pulsing mass of organic material glowing with bioluminescence. Tendrils connected it to every surface. This was the brain, the heart, the source of the entire scourge infestation. It was also protected by thousands of organisms. "Give us everything you have," ordered. Activated all her devices at once. The electromagnetic pulse washed over the chamber. The scourge froze, their coordination shattered. 30 seconds, said. "That is all I can give you." Ran forward. The bioweapon container felt impossibly heavy in the high gravity. Each step was agony. Her suit's radiation alarm was constant now. She was dying. They all were. But dying was okay if the mission succeeded. She reached the core and slammed the container against it. The mechanism activated automatically, releasing the modified bacteria directly into the hive's central nervous system. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the core screamed. It was not a sound, but a feeling, a psychic shriek that hit everyone at once. The scourge across the entire moon system began to thrash. The walls of the chamber started to collapse. "Run!" Jin shouted. They ran, through collapsing tunnels, through waves of dying scourge, through hell itself. Ara carried, Jin and supported, Minyu and cleared the path ahead. Behind them, the hive was dying. The bacteria spread through it like wildfire, breaking down organic matter, destroying the collective intelligence that had threatened entire worlds. They burst out of the entrance as the moon's surface began to cave in. The hive was collapsing from within. "Minyu, tell me the ship still works," gasped. "Starting engines now." They scrambled aboard. The ramp was still closing when Minyu launched. The ship clawed its way into the sky as the moon's surface erupted behind them. From orbit, they watched the hive die. Explosions rippled across the surface as pockets of organic material ignited. The bioelectrical signals that had coordinated millions of organisms went silent. It was over. On the Endurance, watched with tears streaming down his face. Around him, his crew was cheering. Across the galaxy, species that had watched the mission held their breath. The assault ship docked. The team stumbled out, exhausted and radiation-sick. Ara's suit had taken critical damage, needed immediate medical attention. Everyone was at their limits. But they were alive, and they had won. Collapsed into a chair in the medical bay while doctors checked her radiation exposure. The bacteria will spread to 4 within days, then to Bellum Minor and 7. Anywhere the scourge exists, it will die. It is over. Found Ara being extracted from her damaged suit. The young looked terrible, but she was smiling. "We did it," Ara whispered. "We actually did it." "You did it," corrected. "You carried, you saved his life." "I learned from the best." 3 days later, the Galactic Council convened. Observer presented their report. The chamber was filled with representatives from hundreds of worlds. "I have observed many species," said. "I have documented wars, discoveries, and wonders, but I have never seen anything like humanity. They entered conditions that would kill most of us in minutes. They fought creatures we feared. They completed a mission we called impossible, and they did it not for conquest or profit but because someone asked for help." Marshal of the Empire stood. His voice was stiff but honest. "The Empire formally apologizes to Earth. We called you primitives. We were wrong." The collective representative glowed brightly. "We propose the accord. Earth will become the galaxy's rapid response force for hostile environments. In return, we offer full access to galactic technology, resources, and trade." Earth's ambassador, speaking through hologram, accepted. "On one condition, we help everyone who needs it, not just those who can pay." The vote was unanimous. 1 month later, the last scourge organism on 4 died. Colonists returned to their homes. The planets were but alive. Rebuilding would take years, but it would happen. Stood on the surface one final time, watching the twin suns rise. Ara stood beside her, out of her suit now, breathing the air that had once been poison. "Barriers worked," Ara said. "We are maintaining them. In a few years, the ecosystem will recover." "Good." "Commander, can I ask you something? Why did you really come? The truth." Was quiet for a moment. "Because someone had to. Because we know what it is like to struggle, to face extinction, to need help that does not come. Earth almost destroyed itself a dozen times before we reached the stars. We survived because we learned to help each other, to not give up, to keep fighting even when it seems hopeless. So you help others because you remember." "Yes, and because it is the right thing to do." Ara looked at the human commander, this woman who had led her people into hell and brought them back. "The galaxy will never be the same. You know that, right?" smiled. Good, maybe it needed to change. On Earth, the first response ships were being built. Volunteers signed up by the thousands, young people who wanted to help, veterans who had one more fight left in them, scientists eager to explore hostile worlds, engineers ready to build in impossible conditions. The galaxy had asked for aid, expecting refusal or demands. Instead, humanities had come, and they had not faltered. Across the stars, on a dozen worlds facing their own impossible situations, new distress calls were being sent, not to the great empires or ancient collectives, but to Earth, to the who did not quit, to the humans who remembered what it meant to need help. And every time, without fail, the answer came back the same. We are coming, hold on. In the Galactic Archives, Observer filed the final report on Earth. Under classification, they wrote, Protectorate Class, Primary Function, Impossible Rescue Operations, Threat Level, 0 to Allies, Catastrophic to Enemies. Notable trait, does not abandon those in need. And in the notes section, added one final line. When all others failed, the came, and they did not falter. The galaxy is better for their presence. May we never need them, but may they always be ready when we do. The report was marked as permanent record and sealed in the archives for all future generations. Somewhere in deep space, the Endurance received a new distress call, read it, smiled, and gave the order. Set course, someone needs help. The ship turned toward the stars. They were coming,